Welcome back, my friends. As you know, WiByte has an elaborate Python program. Runs over 3 levels, and in all levels, students learn by doing, which means that as the course progresses, students build activities, students build projects, and just like any other course in WiByte, students are allowed to enhance the activities in the way they, like. So the projects become very interesting for students, and the learning is really, really solid because these projects have been picked up from a variety of areas. As we discussed the other time, you can also look at running Python on your own laptop, which is what I call offline, by using, for example, let's say Visual Studio Code or let's say PyCharm. These two are very popular with students. So in this video, I'm going to look at, let's say, how you can get going with, let's say, Visual Studio Code. You can basically download, let's say, Python onto your laptop. You can have an editor as well, and pretty much things are going to move quite smoothly from there. Before moving on, let's just try to understand what exactly is going on here. What exactly do we mean by, say, an online option versus say, an offline option? Online option, for example, Replit, or say offline option, for example, VS Code. Now, whenever we are using an online option, for example, Replit, we just get to our browser and say, okay, www.replit.com, and that basically connects us to the servers of, let's say, the service provider. Once we are doing that, in fact, everything is happening on the server, as I've tried to highlight, which means the code editing, the code execution, the code storage, everything is on the server. Now, the implication of that is quite useful. I mean, that's what we have been doing, that we really do not need to install anything on our laptop because really everything is running on the, on the server, and all we are doing is to code directly in the browser. So it's a really, I would say, a very beautiful innovation that has happened, and that has, let's say, made coding much more accessible to a lot of people. When it comes to the offline option, however, now we are not talking of the cloud. In fact, everything is going to be happening on your own local machine, or let's say, in simple words, your own laptop, which means you will edit the code on your laptop, your code will execute on the laptop itself, your code will be stored also on the laptop, which means that, you guessed it, that we must equip our laptop to be able to understand Python commands. We must equip our laptop to be able to edit Python code, and that is what we are going to do. We are going to get an editor as well as a Python interpreter on our laptop. Now, let's see this in a step-by-step manner for, let's say, VS Code. So really, there are broadly 4 steps. First thing, we must install the Python interpreter itself. And we'll do that from python.org. I'll just show you in a moment how to do it. Next, we'll install the VS Code, the code editor part, in which we will go and extend, let's say, in which we'll go and install the Python extension. Now, because VS Code itself is very general, supports many different kind of things. So we will specifically look for Python extension, install that. And that's pretty much, all we need. We'll see how to, let's say, get moving inside VS Code so that we can run our codes. And it's pretty nice in a way. So first thing that I do is to get to python.org, python.org. And you notice that's basically the Python website. All I need to do really is to go and download the Python, let's say, interpreter for my, now I am on a Windows machine, so I am just going to click this button over here. Of course, in future, this number might change, but for now, it's, let's say, 3.13. In case you're using some other OS, you can just go and search, let's say, from here. Or if your, let's say, OS is, say, very old, then again, you'll have to go and search for that specific, let's say, the Python version for that specific OS. But let's assume this is the one, that you're looking for. So I'm just going to say, well, download this. Now, once, we are done with this, we can look at our downloads folder. That's downloads here. And I see that this file has, let's say the file that can help me install Python is already in the downloads folder. I can double click on it. So that will basically open up the menu for me to install Python. So I'm just going to say, look, let me add python.exe to path. That helps. Just go and say, and I will just go and say install now. Now, again, some work happens behind the scenes. So in installing Python 3.13.2 to my, let's say, machine here, takes a while. So once this is done, I get a message saying setup was successful. There's an online tutorial, documentation, and so on. But we will come back to this a little bit later. So I just close it for now. Next, I need to get my editor, which is going to be the Visual Studio Code. So I go to code.visualstudio.com. Once again, I just go and say, well, download this for Windows, because as I said, I am on a Windows machine. this should pretty much start the download. As you can see, it's happening now. Now, once the download is over, I notice that the installer is available to me on the downloads folder. I double click this to get this thing started. I accept the agreement, and I just keep moving. It'll tell me a path and stuff. It needs at least 409, let's say 402 MB of free space is required. I guess I have that. Let's keep moving. So, it will basically create a shortcut for me as well. And I'll just basically, let me just say create a desktop icon as well, so I can see it right on the desktop. So I just go and say install on this. Notice I've not changed any of the settings that they want. It kind of comes pre-installed, so I would recommend just go with this, so that it all gets set up correctly. So of course this takes some time again. Now, so once this is done, I get an option to, let's say, launch Visual Code Studio. I'll go with that. I will just click finish to sort of end the setup. And now I see that Visual Studio Code is in fact set up on my computer. So you can choose your theme and so on and so forth. There are AI features as well that you can try, but let's just go with the, let's say, dark theme, as I usually do. The important thing that I need to do at this point of time is that I need to install the Python extension. I will just go and click, notice this 3 or 4 squares, let's say, in a very nice fashion. On the left side, I'm going to click on these extensions. I just pick up a popular extension. Now I will install the Python extension as well as the Pylons. In fact, Python is absolutely the must, because without this, nothing would run. Pylons, helps us in, say, several parts about the editing. So I just go and install, let's say, Python. So it tells me details and it's saying it's installing. So let's just wait for a moment for it to install. All right, so it turns out that Pylons was installed as I installed the Python extension, and that's pretty much it. In fact, now we are pretty much set, because all I need to do really is to say, look, I will create a new Python file. I just go and say create a file. So right now it's called untitled one. Let me just write a little bit of a code here. Let's say print, say for example, say hello world. Now I'm going to save this file as, now I've created a folder here on my PC in the C drive called Python project. So I just go here and I save it as, let's say, maybe project, say project1.py. So when I do this, notice now this is called project1.py. Now, amazingly, just like Replit, you have this run button here, which is probably the simplest way to run this. So I can just go and click on this, this triangle kind of button over here. In fact, I think I can minimize the screen as well, right? So I minimize this. When I run this triangle button, you notice the code in fact runs, and my hello world has been printed in the terminal. So I can go and maximize the terminal over here. And you notice that basically it picked up, because since we had added the Python installation to the path, so it picked up the Python path, and it ran this particular project that we just ran. So that's nice. Now let's say I want to run this Python command from the shell, so to say, from the terminal, as we were doing many times in Replit. Well, I can just do py, let's say in this case, make it interactive. Say for example, C colon, say uh, Python projects, say project one.py, and once again the same thing happens. And remember, this is interactive mode, which means my Python terminal has in fact started. So py stands for Python. It's kind of like equivalent to Python 3, because now this is Windows. Py is recognized as a let's say Python command. Now with this available, in fact, the Python terminal is available to you. You can declare a variable. You can import, for example, turtle. Now this could have been very well a part of your function, by the way. I'm part of your file. So if I do this, let's say I go and say t is turtle, so turtle dot say turtle. If you do this, you realize that the turtle window has opened up for you, and here is our good old turtle ready to take our commands from the command line. Now, this is much like the environment that we are so used to, we have been, let's say, playing with. Also, now, in case, let's say, we want to use a module which is not, let's say, present, we can try to install it, not from the Python command, but just from the command line, because we are in the Python shell. So if I go and say pip install, let's say, for example, Colorama, let's just try Colorama. So, Colorama, and that should most likely work. So it just says connecting Colorama. Now Colorama is installed, which means that I can now, for example, use Colorama in my project. So, so let's say I enhance my project a little bit, my project one, I go and import Colorama, the 4 and the init. And let's say I just choose a 4 over here. So when I run this piece of code now, um, got to maximize the terminal. You notice it says hello world. This text is red, this text is green, just as what I had done previously. Now, before I wrap this up, let me try to give you one example, one very concrete example of how this in fact is all set up now. What I've done here is to bring in my, let's say, the Minesweeper project, which, as you know, is the project that we do as a last project in our Python level 3 curriculum. So this is kind of like really out there, and now this code is quite involved. It uses recursion over a two-dimensional, let's say, object, a two-dimensional list, and it uses tkinter to render these buttons. It's really very interesting project. In order to run this file, I just go and do, for example, py -i ms projects, Python projects ms.py. When I do this, you notice my grid does appear, but it doesn't quite look the way I thought it should look. In fact, we were expecting a squarish grid, but if you notice carefully, it has indeed 9 rows and 9 columns as expected. And in fact, the game is working pretty much as we expect it to work. Now, what is going wrong here? In fact, the game got over now. What is happening here? How can we understand what's going on? Well, because remember, this is tkinter being graphical. It depends on the settings on the machine and so on. We realize that the buttons are looking very, let's say, narrow but tall. So I can do, let's say, button width is equal to 2. So these adjustments might be required, but generally the code runs, right? So I can just exit this. Okay, I must save this file before I, do anything. So I just go and say exit this thing. And once again, when I run this piece of code, notice it looks a lot better now, right? So in fact, the game is fully functional. Obviously, it's a very, very interesting game and illustrates lots of beautiful concepts. But my point to show you this here is to tell you that, look, the environment is all set up. And now this is running on your machine. As you spend more time with this, you will, just like with any other platform, you will understand there are many, many more things you can do. But I hope this is good enough to get you started and, consider this as a, let's say, viable option to, let's say, creating your projects. But now, how does the entire end-to-end process look like for a WiByte student? Well, once you have installed VS Code and let's say the Python interpreter on your laptop, my recommendation is, well, complete the project on your laptop. So basically everything should work. You may have to do some searches on the internet, or you may have to consult with other students sometimes to figure out. But just like any other tool, the more time you spend with it, the more familiar you will get. You will discover your own shortcuts. You'll discover your own, let's say, paths through it, right? So worth trying, because it's generally a very popular, tool, a very popular environment which people are using for multiple things. So complete a project on your laptop, but remember, this is still on your laptop because this is an offline tool. You would need to upload this to Replit, because we will continue to use Replit as our main conduit, since that allows us to share our projects to the wider community. So, I've made a video about this in the past. I will linking it again here. Upload your files to Replit. Make sure you test the code once again on Replit. Like we just saw, the Minesweeper game looked very different on your computer compared to, let's say, how it looked on Replit. Also, sometimes you might be using, let's say, files. For example, in the Sports Heroes project, or let's say in the Wordle project, we use external files. Now make sure those files are available in the right path on Replit. So do test your code on Replit, but having done this, submit the code at wibyte.in like usual, which means you take the URL from here and submit it here. So, the entire cycle is set up. I think we are getting the best of both worlds. You have an offline, let's say, Python interpreter available in your laptop for you to use. You can use it, as much as you want, let's say, learn, and you are still connected with a bigger community, because we can use Replit to, let's say, share projects. And that way your account limitations are, I think, largely mitigated. So I really think this is, quite, let's say, useful. So I urge you to explore, and do leave your comments with your experiences, with the problems that you face, because I think as a wider student community, I'm quite sure we can, let's say, make this whole thing much better. Now, before I wrap this up, let me remind you once again to forever enjoy coding, because coding is a very creative journey that you guys have embarked upon. Such changes happen all the time. They are inevitable. Let's view these as opportunities with which we can learn new things, we can broaden our horizons, and we can become much more versatile. But that aside, keep moving, keep learning, and keep enjoying this process. Now, and in case you have not done so yet, please look at our website www.wibyte.in. There's lots and lots of materials for beginners to learn programming in a structured, fun manner by building activities that are really, really interesting. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.